Welcome to Cloud Stories, where your host, Heather Smith, interviews some brilliant minds from the Xero ecosystem and beyond. This show shares stories from our community, developers, cloud integrators, end users, Xero solution providers, business consultants, accountants, bookkeepers, and people riding the cloud. Together we gain a 360-degree insight into this evolving phenomenon. We pick up tips, tools, and tactics from stories shared. We understand where the pieces of the puzzles fall into place, and in turn we can propel our business to the next level. Now here's your host, the very curious Miss Heather Smith.
Hello, my name is Heather Smith, and welcome to episode 10 of Cloud Stories. Today I interview Hannah McIntyre, who was one of Xero's first customers when they launched in the UK. She is now the co-founder of Crunchboards, a financial intelligence global Xero add-on. Let me read you out the blurb about Crunchboards. Where Xero stops, Crunchboards starts. It's a transformational practice management and client experience tool. Crunchboard's core boards and card concept is dynamic data design and display for complete flexibility. Boards for internal practice management, boards to share with co-workers, boards for your clients' investors, boards for employees on the ground running the business. Crunchboard unlocks Xero. Get a 360 degree of your business thanks to limitless profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and cash flow forecasting scenarios. Visualize and compare outcomes side by side. Crunchboards automatically syncs with Xero, so you can take advantage of monitoring organizations with our autopilot alerts. The Crunchboards co-founders Amy Harris and Hannah McIntyre starred on the front cover of the inaugural edition of XU magazine. They launched Crunchboards at Sydney XeroCon 2014, and for those of you based in England, I'm sure you will catch up with them at London XeroCons. And for those of you in Australia, Amy Harris will be at the Australia Evolve Xero Roadshow in February 2015. Now over to the interview. I started by asking Hannah McIntyre, what did you like to do when you were 12 years old?
Oh my goodness. Probably take my sister into a room and beat her up. No, that's a ridiculous thing to say. What did I like to do? I lived in the middle of nowhere in the countryside in the northeast of Scotland. So in the summer holidays, which would be your winter, your version of your winter, but our summer holidays, we did get some sun in the northeast of Scotland. Would be a case of, right kids, we'll see you at tea time, and we'd be out on our bikes fishing and doing all those Huckleberry Finn sorts of things. So yeah, I was a bit of an outdoorsy girl.
Cool. You were out on the Heather Moors, were you, of Scotland?
Well, yeah, something like that, yes. Or being thrown into the North Sea with the beautiful beaches that we had, and my mum going, get in there, you big Jessie, but it's ice cold mumming from the Baltic, but it held no sway with her. We just had to man up and get in there.
Sensational. So, Hannah, what inspired you to launch Crunchboards?
Need. Actually, Amy and I had a software company before Crunchboards for the hospitality vertical. It was a back office system, and we'd had that for a couple of years and had been using Xero. We're probably one of the first adopters of Xero in the UK, coming up for 4 years ago now, and it changed my life completely. As the one who does all of the books for the business, I'd been using Sage desktop for a long time in a previous business that I had. Manually exporting all of the data, putting it into a spreadsheet for management accountancy information, future projections, all of those things, the repetition and the inefficiencies that just, and the headache, quite frankly, that caused was the inspiration for the original business, for, the hospitality software. But whilst we were building that out, we were looking, or I was in particular, looking for a solution for ourselves. We were giving all of these instant management accounts to the hospitality sector. I was like, well, hold on a second. It'd be great if I could have this functionality too. So we went, did a load of assessment and looked into the market for that, the add-ons as they were, probably coming up for, a year and a half ago now. Obviously there are vastly more in the market space now than there were then. And trialed all of the solutions that were out there, and none of them were a solution for us, because I think primarily because they haven't been designed for the business owner up, they've been designed for the accountant down, and that affords different problems. So guess what? I'd be pulling all of the information out of Xero, putting it into a spreadsheet, and back to square one again for that, management information and future projections. So we did a load of interviews because if I was, suffering in this way, then I'm sure a load of other people were. And then that kind of led to the fact, well, then hold on a second. People started mentioning, well, my accountant this and my accountant that. So we started speaking to accountants too. And, this was, a pretty big issue, getting real time, flexible. And that's what spreadsheets do for you. They're a blank canvas, aren't they? What do you want to build? Well, you build whatever you want. It's your business. You know your metrics, your KPIs. You build what you need. And that's what we wanted to build with Crunchboards. And so we took, I spent a long time kind of designing it. Didn't even tell Amy what I was doing in the background. And, then, we started to plan the design and started our first line of code actually was written, 1st of December last year. So yeah, it's been pretty fast. We're coming up for our first code writing anniversary, I guess, next week.
Yeah, definitely. It's very fast. So you said you designed from the business owner up, which is a really interesting concept. And I guess a lot of things, it's interesting where they're being designed from. Who are you selling to, the accountant or the business owner?
Absolutely both. I mean, from a commercial point of view, certainly the accountant, Xero realized that early doors that yes, it's for the business owner, but actually, there's a complete avenue there to go down. However, that for me has become really exciting because absolutely the core is to demystify the numbers, to make analysis really, really super simple, easy, beautiful, actually. We're taking our inspiration from Xero's strapline. Well, yeah, actually, I want to make my management information beautiful. I don't ever want to have to create a pivot table again in my life. I don't ever want to have to export data again. And that's kind of the core. However, the journey that we've then gone on because of the accountant, for me, particularly from the design side of things, has been really exciting because that then gives other solutions that you have to solve. We can, on a board, on our Crunchboards, you can view multiple clients side by side. It's practice management and it's a client experience tool. And a lot of the reporting add-ons in particular are one or the other. They're not often both. And that's actually one thing that was spoken about in Developers Day at XeroCon. And it was nice to be able to say, well, actually, no, our product is definitely for both users. And the great thing is when, the accountant actually shares a board with their client for the first time, that they get this, oh my gosh, is that my business? Oh, and I can change that. And I can change the data and I can view it the way that I want to view it, not the way that you think I want to view it. So while we're giving the accountant the tools, they are also then able to, and it's a bit scary for them, I'm not going to lie, there's some education happening around this, but those who are adopting our product for their business are probably the early adopters, in the bell curve, etc., that people talk about. And accountancy is changing. It's not about compliance anymore, and it certainly won't be in 5 years' time. Advisory is going to be huge. Mm-hmm. And those who are adopting tools like ours now are certainly ahead of the game and delivering an excellent client experience and really empowering business owners with real-time operational tools. It's not a history lesson. It's a live business plan that you can use to actually make your business better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you designed it in the early stages. What did that look like? What is you designing it in the early stages looking like?
Okay, well, as much as I bemoan Excel, it does have its uses, doesn't it? It's pretty... So, we're still quite dev heavy actually as our team. We've got 7 developers. We've got a really big team, which is amazing, which means that not only do we get, to turn things around fairly quickly in, development terms, but also we've got a massive breadth of knowledge. So our design process is it's probably one of the most joyful parts of my life, actually. I really love it. I know it's completely geeky, isn't it? It's ridiculous. And honestly, if you could have told Hannah McIntyre 10 years ago that I'd just say that, she'd have probably just shaken her head and gone, who on earth are you? But it's a collaborative approach. It always starts with me. And it's a collaborative approach in as much as, I'll do the wireframes, the design, the rationale, the logic behind it. And then we bring the team in to go, right, well, how can we make the user experience excellent? What can we do to make sure that, from the beginning to the end of this process, it's as, with as few clicks as possible, it's as effortless as possible. So that's the fun bit,
Cool. Are your team based there in
They certainly are. Brighton, we have one in Eastbourne, bless him, but all the rest of them are in Brighton. But we're all on the beach. We've all got a pier that we can see from our, not from our windows, but fairly close,
Sensational. That's actually quite unusual, especially for developers. They seem to be all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, that's important to me. I have to say it's one thing that I'm really, really proud of is that, we are completely made in Britain, but it's not just that we're local, it's we're all together, we see each other regularly. They're not all office based, some of them work from home, but we use software ourselves so that we're all video streaming all the time and just click each other's faces to start having a conversation. And it just works, it works really, really well.
Absolutely. So what's been one of your biggest challenges along the way since launching Crunchboards?
I would probably say being so well received in Australia, which sounds and New Zealand, the Antipodean region. It sounds a ridiculous thing to say that that's a problem, but it's not been a problem. It's a wonderful problem to solve. But of course, which has meant that, you met Amy, my co-founder out there. She was over doing a 6-week tour.
Absolutely.
And, the time difference it's something that we've got to get around. But luckily we don't sleep. We are complete vampires and that's fine. We get the polyfiller out in the morning and trowel it on and everything's good to go again. So, it's brilliant now. It's very exciting. We're building out an Australian team now, which is super exciting, and in a million years, that was not, part of the plan within the first year, but it is now, and that's really exciting. But, originally a hurdle that we had to overcome with, sound mind and some decent planning, so yeah. Yeah,
no, the time differences, which we can summarise that is a common thread I hear amongst the add-on solutions. So, Hannah, you appeared on the cover of the inaugural edition of the XU magazine. So I've got 2 questions for you. Tell us about the cover shoot and tell us about the impact the coverage had for your business.
Oh, that cover shoot where we are in midair. And it is, I have to say, we had the most bonkers photographer. He said, just imagine that you're jumping over a barrel. I was like, well, I don't know why. Maybe because I'm from the northeast of Scotland, but it said, can I imagine I'm jumping over a sheep? Which seemed to work for me. Our New Zealand counterparts were probably like that. But it was really good fun. We were there with, the XU magazine boys and, we just had a bit of a giggle with it all. So that was good fun. What was the second question, Heather? Sorry.
What's the impact the coverage has had for your business?
Oh, well, let's use XeroCon Sydney as an example. People walked in. It was XU magazine's launch as well. Great. We were on the cover. It absolutely helped with the fact that, who are these? The double denim, what's this? Of course it helps. Of course it helps. And they've been incredibly supportive and continue to be so. So that's great. Maybe it's the English, the British thing.
Yeah. What I was interested in, I wasn't trying to get a claim for XU magazine. I was just interested in, media coverage and stuff, and that's great. So thank you
absolutely. It's been, and actually that wasn't my response either. That seriously, it was a really, really fantastic, dovetailing. Before we went over there, when we got the phone call from Wes, it was just phenomenal. Wow. Okay, we're going over and we're going to launch with a splash. So that was just brilliant.
Yeah, no, it was massive. I think it was made XeroCon Sydney fantastic. So I've got quite a long question for you here.
Okay.
Dr. Gordon Patzer, who spent 3 decades researching physical attractiveness and says human beings are hardwired to respond more favourably to attractive people. To quote him, good-looking men and women are generally regarded to be more talented, kind, honest and intelligent than their less attractive counterparts. He contends that controlled studies show people go out of their way to help attractive people of the same sex and opposite sex because they want to be liked and accepted by good-looking people. Do you see physical attractiveness more as something to be leveraged or your unfair advantage?
Well, is that you giving me a sideways compliment, Heather?
Yes, it was.
That was a rather long way to do it. No, thank you very much. Wow, okay. So this is one of those questions I think very carefully of how I answer, I guess. Now, I have 2 daughters and a stepson. and they are beautiful. Of course, you always think your own children are beautiful. But I would say that it wrongly probably opens doors. However, if there's no substance there behind it, then you're dead in the water. So sometimes actually I think that, perceived looks can hinder you because people make assessments about you before you've opened your mouth. And, I hope that Amy and I, as two, females in the marketplace, are assessed on our product, what we're bringing to the add-on ecosystem, and the way that we do business with integrity.
Absolutely.
So that's all I guess I can say. And I just hope that my kids who, embrace every opportunity that they've got, and if they get given some more opportunities, then great. But I tell you what, they'll have to work bloody hard to make, a success of their life like their mum has to. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I know when you appeared on stage, the table I was with went silent. In stunned, and then because you were stunning shining light there, and then you started speaking, and one of them just went, bloody hell, she speaks English with an English accent as well. So they were in a very loving way amazed by you. So, how many customers does Crunchboards needs to be successful?
Oh my goodness. We are meeting and exceeding our forecasts. So I guess that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
We don't need a set amount of customers, I guess. It's a case of building, monthly recurring revenues. The business model is a really interesting one. And, maximizing our potential in the Antipodean regions is absolutely what we're focusing on at the moment. It's lovely to see that we've got UK users signing up, but actually we're not pushing in the UK at the moment because we've got a focus there. And we've still got a small team, in the sales side of things, and we're building that out now, which is again another exciting step for us. So it's, we've got little doggies here. So it's very, we're thrilled with our progress, and if we continue the way that we're going, then, we're in a really good place.
So it sounds like you're a strong UK business with a heavy export focus. Are you getting assistance from the British export authorities? I don't know what their name is, but the British export type authorities?
It's interesting actually, because this week the Daily Mail in the UK, there's a focus that they're doing on all of that, and actually we've been interviewed on a video interview for them, so that should be going out this week at some point. On the export side of things, we're not getting any particular assistance. No, we're working things out as we go along. I think the biggest challenge that we've got is getting the information about employing staff in Australia, New Zealand, all of those things, because these are, there's pitfalls there, and that's I guess our biggest challenge. Amy's going back over there in the new year again, like I said, for the Australian Roadshow, so she'll be doing a bit more recce work, but that's progressing nicely. And I guess it's the legalities that you're always a bit wary of, but we've got good accountants too, so they're helping us out, which is great.
Sensational. So what software do you use in your own business?
Yeah, we've got to run a SaaS business. We've got to use smart software ourselves, don't we? Otherwise, we're not really practicing what we preach. So you'll be happy to know that we run our business on Crunchboards. Hooray! So building it from a selfish perspective has worked.
Yes, sensational.
I know, so that's brilliant. So from the development side of things, we're massive fans of Trello. We use Scrum methodology in our development plans. Yes. So we use Trello for that, which is fabulous, and absolutely love Trello. We are using things like Salesforce for our CRM. We've got some other cool tools like Squiggle that we use to collaborate with our dev team, those who are in Eastbourne, whatever, or who are working from home. I guess for me, the biggest one that we're using is HipChat. We've got a room in HipChat, which is has got conversations, our Crunchboards room from the beginning of time. And it's brilliant because it feeds in, with a different software that, alerts and stuff that we're using feeds into it too. So that's an essential tool for the dev side of things.
So HipChat is what you talked about when you said I just hit a button and talk to someone face to face?
No, that's Swiggle actually. That's Swiggle. It's constant video streaming. It's brilliant. It's really good. They're kind of, we've been using that since they launched it with their beta. So there've been a few bugs, which
You're
is fine.
An early adopter, aren't you, of everything?
Yeah, but you've got to remember as well that I am working with geeky boys. So, it's like, Hannah, have you seen such and such? No, I haven't. I'll check it out. But things like Screen Hero, that's quite good as well. I don't know whether you've used that before. It's kind of instant screen collaboration, and it's absolutely brilliant. You've got both mouses there. You just start typing, you're on the other person's screen. It's phenomenal. So, from peer-to-peer dev side of things, that's really cool too.
There seem to have been a lot of screen adoption technologies come out recently, because I know I'm still paying my $60 Go to Assist Citrix subscription, which I think I need to drop to drop and do one of those.
We do use it. I mean, we've used others. I think that all of them, including Skype, which we're using at the moment.
Yeah.
If that's all you do, really, it should be bloody good. Having building an application that does a lot of things and making sure that they're all good, is hard work. If this is all you do, let's get it going well.
Yeah.
So, I think that, screen sharing technology is brilliant if it works, and we've all had issues where it doesn't, I guess.
Yes. So how do you see the Xero ecosystem evolving?
Well, it's growing at a rate of knots, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and interesting. I'm not using many add-ons now myself.
It didn't sound like it.
We're using our own, that's what we needed to use. And we are using things like Zapier integrations. So we use Stripe for our billing. So we're using that, which is brilliant. It creates an invoice in Xero straight away. So that's brilliant. I see us doing some interesting things next year with the ecosystem, but I don't want to speak too much about that because it's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. 2015 is really exciting with that. But where do I see it? I think that, Xero is really pushing the vertical add-ons, sometimes to the detriment of the horizontal, add-ons that are out there. And as much as Xero's given us all this opportunity in many cases, it is an accounting package. And I think that if it loses focus on what actually it is as a core product, that it will actually create issues down the line. Because, well, what are you? Why build an ecosystem if you don't want to actually help it flourish? So, I think the next year in particular will be very interesting. In particular, when you look at Xero's competitors and what they're doing.
Yeah.
We're purely Xero. Certainly at the moment we are. We've made a decision, despite the fact that we have got other integrations. I'm not going to name any names, but we've got other integrations that we could turn on, and we've decided not to. Yeah. So, because they've been amazing. They've been very supportive of us.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that you use Stripe billing with Zapier. Does Stripe billing do your automatic subscriptions?
Actually, no, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
We could have, and we did look at their, they've got great docs, they've got a great system, but we've got kind of a variable billing system. So we actually built our own, or one of our lovely boys went and built a custom one for us.
Oh, that's good. That sounds like another little solution you could go and sell out there. Another one, we built it because we needed it.
Yeah, right.
So I think you've touched on this a bit, but if you have anything else to say, what changes are you seeing in the market moving from compliance to value add? I think you've kind of said that you see it becoming...
Yeah, I mean, look, you're a CPA, aren't you? You're a chartered
I'm an
accountant.
ACCA, so you actually know that. People here.
Yeah, so UK, absolutely.
Australia don't know that.
There's, okay, so previous life for me, I've had accountants beforehand who I've not seen for a whole year. And at the end of the year have gone, oh, hi, it's year end. We'll get your accounts prepared and here's a P&L and a balance sheet and da 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 da. And here's a bill for £2,000. And that was years ago.
And that sounds really cheap.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, it didn't feel it, You just thought, what value am I getting here as a business owner? So there's that. And we kind of park that on one side. But I think that business owners are kind of having to, there's some really entrepreneurial businesses out there. There's still some huge businesses, fine, but the SME market, are traditionally, time poor, on the ground, firefighting, all of those things, really hands-on. And, until you get to a point with your business where you can employ people to do these things for you, you need, input now and again. And, there was a great study, I can't remember who commissioned it, that I read probably about a year and a half ago, that said that 84% of SMEs actually want their advisor to be, take on more of a CFO role, a remote FD role.
Yes.
Because, it's hard doing it on your own. So I may be wrong and I may be off here, but I do think that there will be a move that actually compliance will not be the thing that's the billable. It's actually, I met a very interesting accountant in Brighton actually a while back, actually last month, she hasn't got many clients, but she does actually, definitely perform that FD role for them and does not do compliance. They have another accountant for that. She's not interested in it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm here to help you run your business and make you successful as possible. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That compliance is a necessary evil, we know, but actually tools are making that process a lot quicker, a lot easier than it was before. Even for the single ledger has revolutionized a lot of these things and it's a lot more streamlined. So where's the value? What do we need an accountant for? Well, actually, you should have a hell of a lot of knowledge to help me run my business. So give me some.
Yeah.
And that's where I see it, going.
So if you were talking to, and I'm asking you this because it's specifically around your product, if you're talking to a bookkeeper or accountant who's never ventured into value add work, and there are a lot of people like that, what would you suggest is the easiest thing they can do using your product to help their client and value add?
First thing I would say is, how do you present data to your client? How do you give your client visualization over their own business? First question.
Yeah.
Often that there's an and an there
and
a pause.
Yeah.
And then the second point will be what we've just discussed, the value add side of things and what business owners, and we know this because we did the bloody interviews, we know it, we're not making it up. And actually we're one of those business owners, hi there, we're one. And what we would then do is create, and we have them already built out, but we've got, sample boards that can get turned on, and they work for every organization because they're a little bit more generic. And that's fine. That's a great introduction to the visualization side of things, the power of actually just being able to pull out, one account, for instance, or income and see all of your sales streams side by side in a chart, in seconds. And being able to, change that data. Well, do you want to see it this week, this month? We've got a great, client of ours looks after cafes and restaurants and things. And great. So they've got one board that they're then, that's the starting point. And then each of the businesses, they'll tailor it, of course. But it's, for each vertical, we can get those things set up. So the kind of the point about it is that we've created an engine and it is an engine, it's a platform that allows you to absolutely tailor and make bespoke in seconds analysis.
Yes.
Future, present, past. And all of those things in one card, one of the cards that we've got on our board, can be flipped out into forecast data in seconds. So
yes.
it's just that instant, effortless, and now you start doing this, the conversation starts.
Yes.
That's the point, because the boards that we've built, you can then share with your clients. They receive it. It gives them a mirror copy in their instance on their tablet, their phone. We've designed it responsibly so it works on any device. And it's a case of, right, we're syncing with Xero automatically as well about three times a day, three times every 24 hours. So that data just comes through. So it's being updated all the time. You build out your forecasting Crunchboards as well. You've got that actual versus forecast. How are we comparing? Tracking's being released within the next week or so. They are looking amazing, those cards. Yes. And then, great plans for the future for consolidation and things in the beginning of next year. So it's just literally is where I know we say on our website where Xero stops, Crunchboards starts, but that really is the case. That's what we've done.
Absolutely. And you seem to be evolving and bringing out new updates so quickly, because I know that Amy said that it almost looks completely different to the original version.
It does. Again, I kind of sneakily did version 2 while she was in Australia. Do this while she's away. It's terrible. It's like cheating on your wife. It's so naughty. But yeah, I mean, the beauty of clouds, the beauty of, and that's why we're here, isn't it, Heather? It's all about the clouds, and the beauty of that. And the whole point of it from an end user's perspective is you don't pay for a disk of some desktop software that you punch into, plug into your machine, and then that's it, you're done, and you hope that it doesn't corrupt and you don't need to phone, the support line.
Yes.
You get brilliant updates for the same license fee. It just keeps coming, it just keeps giving. We're just a gift that keeps giving. That's kind of that's the point of it all,
Absolutely. Well, you're the frosting on the cake.
Oh yeah, the frosting on Xero's cake, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Hannah, I'll leave you with one final question. What do you look forward to doing most?
Oh my goodness. Seeing my kids more, probably. I have mummy guilt quite a lot. So, they're 7, 8 and 12. And I think I'm really, really looking forward to Christmas this year. It's been an insane 12 months. Insane. And spending some family time with my kids and my amazing partner. He's just, he's the rock. Couldn't do it without him, So I'm being a bit soppy now, but that's the truth. It's the truth. Why do you do this? Why do you slog your guts out for your family?
Are they looking like they're going to go into computer sciences?
Oh, it's funny actually. So my youngest, she's a bit crazy. That's just an aside. That's just a statement of fact. But she wants to be a vet. But she said to me the other day, "Mummy, if I don't get to be a vet, I think I want to be a businesswoman like you." And I just thought, well, do you know what? Bless you, darling, because she sees the hours that Amy and I put in, and especially with, Australia and New Zealand, of late. We start at 5, and tonight I'll finish at 10:30, and my day started at 5 today. Usually I'm drinking wine. Today I've actually got water, which is a big, I'm quite impressed with myself. But, I hope that we're an inspiration to the kids. I hope so. Yeah. It would be nice.
Yeah. I do think sometimes, and it may not work for you, but the cloud means you can actually be flexible around your children. Yeah. And you can be...
At the end of the day, if I want to take a day off, I can do. And if I need to work away, I can do. This year, not so much, because we've had so much to do. Yes. But certainly next year will be different. We're not going to take our foot off the pedal, but we will, be structuring things a little bit differently, by taking on more staff, etc. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hannah, for speaking with us today. I'm sure our listeners will really appreciate everything that you've shared with us, and hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
I hope you found that interview with Hannah McIntyre of Crunchboards informative. If you've been listening to this show prior to December 2014, maybe you've noticed an improvement in audio quality. Rather than trying to do it myself, I've engaged a professional audio engineer. I still have a lot of birds singing outside my window, so you'll still get to enjoy them. I'm also thrilled that Cloud Stories has a sponsor, Rental SaaS. I've worked on numerous projects with Siva from Rental SaaS for close to a decade now. My clients have always been happy with his solutions. If you're looking for a rental solution that plugs into Xero, contact Siva and his team at Rental SaaS. And as I'm recording, this is December 2014, and we're just putting the final touches on the second edition of XU Magazine. If you're not yet a subscriber, visit the website at www.xumagazine.com to guarantee you can get your hands on the next copy. And finally, happy Christmas, and I look forward to seeing and hearing from you in the new year.
This show is sponsored by Rental SaaS. Rental SaaS is your end-to-end rental management solution, enabling you to keep track of bookings, hired items, and manage your inventory. Rental SaaS integrates seamlessly with Xero. Contact Siva and his team at rentalsaas.com for further information. If you want to get in contact with Heather Smith, please visit her website at www.heathersmithsmallbusiness.com. If you wish to find out more about XU magazines, contact Heather at au@xumagazine.com. You've been listening to Cloud Stories. If you like this podcast, please download it, share it with friends, share it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and social media. And one more thing, can you leave Cloud Stories a 5-star rating on iTunes? Thank you.